So in 2010, I put away my customized soccer shoes and I told myself, Diego, you gotta start letting soccer go. Now, that didn't mean that I was gonna stop playing soccer just cold turkey like that, right? Just no more soccer at all. Of course not, right? That would have been extremely difficult for me. But what did happen was I stopped playing soccer with other people, right? What I did begin to do was I played soccer on my own, right? So I would go to the tennis courts, I would put on my indoor soccer shoes, and I'll just grab my ball, and it would just be me, my ball, in a lonely tennis court, right? Sounds lonely, and probably it is or it was, but that was the way where like I was still able to kind of like play soccer, right? So I would just shoot the ball towards the fence, and the ball would come back. That way it wouldn't leave. Of course, it wasn't always as fun, right? Because soccer is something that you would want to play with others, right? And being honest, there was times where I would go just to take my frustration out, right? Or my anger out of the way, where, I really wanted to play soccer with other people, but I know I couldn't, so I would just go to the tennis court, and I would just shoot the ball as hard as I can against the fence. And then, there were times I remember where I would hit like the bar and it would come back straight to me and it would hit me. Or there were times where I would kick it so hard that I would like shoot it over the fence, and then I would get mad because I'd be like, shit, now I gotta go find it. And that was a whole adventure in its own. Whether if it was going to the alley or to the grass, right? Sometimes there was people there and they would grab it and throw it to me or whatnot. But I would always try to go during the times where there weren't that many people there, or where nobody really was at the park. So I did that during the summer in 2011, right before I left off to college. And once I got to U of I stayed at the residence hall called FAR, or Florida Avenue Residence Hall. And it turned out that right behind that residence hall, there was a soccer field. I still had enough vision to kind of like make out where the goal was, because it was really good contrast. There was like a lot of soccer field. There was a lot of grass. And there was actually a hill behind one of the goals, so if the ball went over or to the side of the goal, it would come back down, or it wouldn't really go far because it would hit the hill and it would just come back down. I wasn't able to follow the ball when I kicked it, but I was able to kind of like make out here and there where it went. And so I remember sometimes it would hit the crossbar or it would hit the side pole, and it was an adventure trying to go find it, because whenever I lost the ball, whether it was because I kicked it too hard and it hit the one of the poles and I couldn't follow it, or I just totally missed the goal. There was three things that I would do. Number one was I would stand still wherever I was, or I would start walking towards the goal, and at the time I had curly hair, and I would grab onto my curls and I would just like pretend, I would just like try and look for it, that's like a perk I had or whatnot. If that didn't work, I would like kneel down, untie one shoe, and I'll pretend I'm tying my shoe, and I'll like kind of scan the floor, that way I'm closer to the floor. And then, I would do both shoes, right? So in the to consume time. And if that didn't work, then I would try and calculate where the ball could have gone, right? So I would stand where I shot the ball from, and then I'll think, okay, I hit it with my right leg, so it might have curved, but it hit the right goalpost, and it might have gone that way, right? So then I would walk kind of towards that area, and I'm like, okay, I wasn't that hard of a kick, so it might have not gone too far. And then wherever I was in the area, I would start walking. So I would start walking up and down. So like kind of like side by side, up and down, up and down, up and down. And so either I spotted the ball, or I would like run into the ball, whatever, eventually I would find my ball, right? So there were a whole bunch of times where I lost the ball for a couple of minutes, and then by the time I found it, I was like, I'm going home. So I had fun. The sad part was when others would come, right? Two friends come along, and they see me playing soccer by myself, and soccer's a friendly sport, right? So they see me and they're like, hey, you want to play? I would always say, I was actually leaving. I was about to go. And then I would just grab my stuff, change my shoes, and I would leave, right? Deep inside, like me, I'm like, yes, I do want to play. Like, yes, I really want to stay here and play with you guys. Like, it's great to play with other people. But I knew that, I would have either had to explain to them like, oh, I can't see, blah, blah. And at the time, you know, my freshman year in college, I wasn't that comfortable yet to tell a whole bunch of people. So that would happen. And, you know, there was times where I had just gotten there. I just switched, changed my shoes, and maybe I kicked the ball once or twice, and somebody would show up and they'd be like, hey, do you want to play? Or like, hey, can we join you? Then I would still say, you know, actually, I was just about to go. And in my head, I'm like, man, they probably saw me get there. They probably like, you know, think I'm bogus. But at the time I was like, I don't really care what they say or what they think. It's just, you know, me, right? And then I would just go to my dorm and just stay in my dorm. So that happened, and I would do that a lot during my freshman year in college. And basically that's it, right? Right after my freshman year in college, so at the end of 2012 or mid 2012, I no longer could see the soccer ball anymore, to the point where like I couldn't even go to the tennis court and kick the ball. So I needed to go of that in 2012. Now, what happened next was I picked up Xbox. So I bought myself an Xbox 360 and I bought myself FIFA. Now, I had already been playing that like with my brother and whatnot. But I did this because, you know, that by then it was like my sophomore year in college, and I, you know, had my own apartment with a roommate, one of my cousins actually. And so I took my Xbox there with me, and that's the way I still stayed in touch with soccer in a way, right? So it wasn't, obviously, you know, it doesn't compare to actually playing soccer, of course not. You know, if it was up to me, I would be in the field playing soccer every day. Wouldn't waste my time just sitting down playing Xbox, right? But I wanted to do that because, you know, that was another way that I could still kind of play, right? I saw myself, you know, I would do career mode. I didn't do online because I sucked. Especially because the only way I could actually do it was I would have to zoom in the screen super, like the setting with the most zoomed in screen, which I believe was called dynamic. And that's the only way I could play. I remember my brother and my friends would hate it when I played against them because they're used to playing with a full screen, and, you know, I was used to playing that way, and so, you know, they didn't like it. Also, when I watched soccer games during this time, I was able to see, like, if I was sitting down in the couch kind of far from the TV, I was able to see like the players walking around or running around, and I could kind of tell where the ball was going. Obviously, also the commentators were helpful. But if somebody scored, I would have to get up really close to the TV and kind of like, that's the only way I could actually see the ball and how like the guy shot or whatever. That was the best way where I could like actually see the whole play. But that only lasted up to 2014. So in 2014, that's when I just couldn't see anything anymore, right? I couldn't play Xbox. I couldn't watch the TV, like even if I got up close, like it was already like just a blur. I could kind of see some movement, but it was just a blur. It was really difficult for me to make things out. Basically, I had to start relying only on the commentators, right? Which is awesome because the Spanish commentators are just awesome. They're always full of emotion and they get you right in the game, and they could describe the play exactly how it's going. And also, sometimes my dad or my brother would also kind of like describe to me the way the goal, like the play of the goal was. And knowing soccer, I know exactly what they were talking about. And if I didn't really quite understand it, something that became a thing, without even like me telling my brother or anything, like sometimes he would just start like showing me like tactually, right? So he'll like do like with his finger, he'll be like, okay, so the defense was here and the goalie was here and the forward was right here. But he doesn't really do it in my hand. Usually what he does is like right here, like in my chest, because it's like a bigger area. So he's like, so the defense was here, and then the forward was coming through here, and then he shot over here, right? So it paints me a better picture where I'm like, okay, I get what you mean now, right? So I still enjoyed soccer. I still followed soccer, like statistics. I knew where all the players were, like my favorite players, like my favorite clubs. I knew exactly how they were doing in their leagues. I even began to look at more leagues, right? So I could still talk about soccer for hours. So I continued to enjoy it that way. I didn't stop going to like soccer stadiums. I still go see live soccer games, even though I can't see anything. Like, well, I shouldn't say I can't see anything, but I can't see the field, basically. What you go see, I can't, right? I can barely see the person right in front of me when I'm standing there. And so but I still go because there's something about being in the stadium and being with the crowd. And if I have my brother there, he kind of like tells me like, oh, how the play was. But also the crowd, the crowd allows you, the crowd tells you what's going on in the game, right? Either they boo or they cheer, or when there's a close call, they go like, oh, like, so it's awesome. Not being able to see the field didn't take that away from me. But I will say one of the most difficult things was going to see my little brother play soccer, like when he played in the soccer team. I never thought that was gonna be difficult until I went to one of his games. And I believe I went to one of his games, it was a long time ago now, probably like at least 4 years ago or something. One of his first games after I lost my vision. And so I remember I went, and I'm my brother's number one fan. Like, he plays soccer. Me and him been playing soccer since we were really little. And he would always play with me and my friends, so he's an awesome soccer player. And so when I went to one of his games back then, I began to feel so anxious during the game that I didn't want to be there. It's a weird feeling to describe. But part of me was like, I guess I wasn't ready for it. Like, I wanted to be on the field. That's it's a weird feeling. It's just I was like super anxious. I felt like, like I wanted to scream, or like I felt anger and sadness, and it was just all this mixed emotion that I just couldn't be there. I had to stay through the whole game, but once I felt that, I was like, what, I can't do this, right? Like I felt like, again, I felt anger, I felt sad, I felt like I wanted to cry, but at the same time I was like, I want to be here for my brother. I never told him that, I never shared this with him. But so that happened, and then I never went to his games anymore after that for a while. But I enjoyed hearing about it though. Every time he got home from a soccer game, I would always be like, how did it go? And he'll sit down with me and he'll tell me like play by play how they scored, what mistake the stupid goalie did or the other defense did or something, who hit him in the leg or whatever happened, right? And so we would bond that way. Another thing that happens is sometimes my friends ask me, and not in a bogus way, right? It's just sometimes when we're talking, or especially before when like I would talk a lot about like how much I miss soccer. Sometimes they would ask me, they're like, but Diego, like I also used to play soccer and I don't play soccer anymore, but I don't think I miss it as much as you do. And to that I would respond, well, here's the difference, right? The difference here is that you chose to not play soccer. Either that or you got busy with work or whatever that, maybe you don't have the time for it, right? But if today you wanted to play, let's say, you have some free time and you want to go play soccer, you can do it. If tomorrow you wanted to go play, you can do it, right? Me, on the other hand, it was something that was taken away from me, right? I had no, say whatsoever if I wanted to stop or not, right? If it was up to me, I would want to play soccer right now, tomorrow, and the next day, and every day. But I can't, right? Because I can't see. Because it's something that I don't have an option of, right? So, of course I miss it, right? I miss it because it's something I can't do at all, right? And so, we had that conversation, and that's why, I say, it's valid for me to have these feelings, right? To miss it, right? And I'll be honest, there's a lot of times where like I missed it. I just, I'll be doing something and then I'll all of a sudden I'll miss it. One of the best examples that I have is a lot of times during like when I lived in college or when I lived in my apartment, I would leave to class, right? So I'll be walking out of my apartment and, I would just feel the weather outside and just feel like the air and like the breeze. And then I'll just have a moment for myself where, a thought comes into my head and I'm like, man, this is good soccer weather. And I'll just, keep that for a while. Then I'll take a deep breath, and then I'll let go of the thought. And then I think about, I gotta get to class. I got to do this. I have to do that. Keep on going about my day. Because I needed to acknowledge the fact that I miss soccer, right? I needed to acknowledge the thought that came into my head, but I didn't have to latch onto it, right? I didn't have to just grab onto it and be like, I miss it and I want to play right now. And because that would, take me down down a spiral, a place I don't want to go to, right? And I don't need it, right? I just, it was just a moment that I had to acknowledge, allow the thought to pass through my head and let it go, right? Just let it go and go about my day. There's other things I needed to keep myself busy with, right? Like, what's the homework I needed to turn in, or what assignments, or, what's going on in my class, or just other things that I had going on. right there and then, in the moment, right? Stay in the moment. And so that's my soccer experience in a nutshell, as I was losing my vision, right? Now, today, again, right, I'm at the point where, yes, I miss it sometimes here and there, but I still enjoy it, right? I enjoy it to the fullest. It's not the most ideal way that I would want to do it, right? I would actually want to be playing it or seeing it, physically seeing it. But, I still enjoy it. I still follow the statistics. I still enjoy the World Cup. Soccer's still my favorite sport, and it would always be my favorite sport. And like I mentioned in my other video, I let go of it, but that doesn't mean I had to stop loving it, right? It doesn't mean I had to stop thinking about it or I had to stop caring about it. No, it's just I had to let go, right? I had to let go of it, learn how to adjust per se, and move on, right? Move on in the way that I enjoy it, but it's not something that keeps me down, right? So my question for you guys is there something that you guys miss? Is there something that you guys used to do in terms of whatever, we could talk about, losing vision, since that's, what my video is about. But even if it's not that, is there something that was taken away from you that you used to enjoy and perhaps now it's more difficult or you just can't do it anymore? And if there is, I would like to hear something. I would like to hear about it, right? Share with me down in the comments below. Just either whether if you guys totally let go of it and, just completely stop doing it, or if you found a way to still continue to enjoy whatever it is that you guys miss and have a harder time of doing, right? Please leave that in the comments below. Thank you for watching this video. I will have a new video up for you guys soon, and I hope you guys are enjoying the World Cup.